Welcome back to Foxy TV episode 124. For those of you joining us for the first time, we are a home staging company based in Brisbane, Australia. And this show, Foxy TV, is about giving you an insight as to how a home staging company runs. We show you what happens on install day, what goes on behind the scenes, and we do our very best to provide you with an entertaining and informative show. This episode is no different. In this episode, we are breaking down consultations. Now, home staging isn't a product you can just walk into a store and pick off the shelf. It is a service. And when you're talking a service that is in the thousands of dollars, most people are going to want to meet you to know what you can do for them. And they're going to want to know how much it is going to cost them. So we're going to have a chat with Phoebe about how we do consultations at Foxy Home Staging, including whether we charge for consults, how long it takes for us to do a consultation, what do we do when we're there, what sort of photos do we take, what questions do we ask, and we're even going to share with you a document, our consultation form that Jenessa, Phoebe and Cassie use at every install. That chat with Phoebe will go for about 10 minutes, but before that we have just two quick things to show you. An install that we did earlier this week, and also we're going to show you which steamer we use to steam our beds on install day. It's only going to take just a couple of minutes to show you that, but if you're here purely for the information on consultations, just skip forward about 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, let's go to the install.
We're in Karina Heights, right up on the top of Karina Heights. So we're right up in the Orange Street, which has city views. So we're in a beautiful, beautiful spot in this gorgeous renovated home. Very, if I could describe the style, it's very American coastal, and I'm in love with it. So if you turn around this side, it's very Joanna Gaines, I think, but a bit more coastal than Joanna Gaines. The ceiling, the kitchen ceiling, the skylights, the selections, these are beautiful Atmosphero lamps. Everything comes together so beautifully, and I can't wait to see this one in the market because it's getting a really good response, I reckon. So different, large, in a gorgeous position, and in a great school catchment. Look at me, I should be a real estate agent.
Aside from being asked where we got a particular piece of furniture or an accessory, where we purchased it from, the next question that we get asked the most is where we get our steamer from. So we use this one here, the one that I'm showing you in the video now. This particular model has been discontinued, but there is a similar one. I think it's just the newer model at Harvey Norman here in Australia at around $140 price point. If you're interested in more, just Google the Philips EasyTouch stand garment steamer. I've written that down in the description of this video so you can copy and paste it from there. So that is the steamer that we used on the beds. If you're interested on seeing how we steam the beds, I think the process is pretty straightforward and pretty quick, but if you are interested in seeing that, just let us know in the comments and we can get that up in a future video. Now for today's main topic. On a busy Wednesday afternoon at the warehouse, I was able to catch up with Phoebe and ask her all about consultations. How much do you charge for our consultation?
Zero. Our consultations are complimentary, which is different to a lot of stylists, and it does cause a bit of a conversation in the industry. But our belief is, there's a couple of things, but for us to get in front of the vendors and give them our thoughts and everything, it's the first step in our planning process. If we can get in front of the vendor, 9 times out of 10, they're going to go ahead with the quote. So we're just so much more, actually, let's say 7 times out of 10. They're more likely to go ahead and lock in with the install. I feel that if we charge, we're one of the only businesses and suppliers in the real estate industry. You don't pay for a painter to give a quote, you don't pay for a builder, you don't pay for your real estate to come and give you an appraisal, you don't pay for your handyman to come and give you a quote. Why? I know that there's a lot of stylists out there that disagree with me, and they're saying we're imparting out advice and everything. However, we've always been about giving as much valuable information as we can out for free, regardless of whether or not you're a stylist, an agent, or a vendor. So why should that stop at a consultation? So for me, get in there, do the consultation. I will tell them, literally, if I can't do anything, I'm gonna let them know if they should change their sofa around, switch the wall their TV's on. I'll do it with them while we're there. and that's fantastic. They'll get more for their house, it's presented better. But most people, time poor, they have a look and see the impact that styling can have, and they realise, actually, you know what, I really want to do it. I get the quote through to them, and they're like, actually, I've created that built that relationship already. I've got that trust. Let's got that grounding. Let's just get them in to do it. It's just going to be so much easier, save me so much time, and it's going to work better because my agents recommended it. So, yeah, that's why. It really varies, and the reason it varies is just dependent on how much I talk. So it can be 15 minutes, and it has been up to an hour. It depends on the size of the property, depends if there's somebody living in it. Am I meeting the agent there? Am I meeting a vendor? Is it property completely empty? Are we styling all spaces? Is it in a unit? Does it have good access? All of those factors will change how long a consultation will take. No, and particularly, so for example, lockdown was a really good example of this. I started doing virtual consultations. However, we've always done as an offering so that I can get your quote through straight away. I'll do a quote for floor plan. I can jump onto RP data and have a look and see if there's any previous listing information. Most of them will include a floor plan unless it was listed a long, long time ago. I can really gauge at least the size of the living space so I can give somebody an approximate cost. We will very rarely install without having seen the property in some sort of manner. If I'm happy with the floor plan and I'm happy that the colour scheme hasn't been changed internally, and we haven't visited the site, but I've got that information, we can install. However, we will not install sight unseen unless we have that 70%, 75% of information. We're really fortunate. We own our truck, we own our stock. I can take backups with us. But I obviously can't get there to install a grey colour palette house to turn up and then it's beige colour palette. So they're the things I need to make sure we have those boxes ticked before we install. This is something that I was finding I was asking over and over again. So as a business that as we've grown and I've gotten stylists in, and we've got full-time stylists in who I'm then getting to go out and do the role I was doing, I was getting asked a lot, like, what do we do so that the stylists are doing the same calibre of work as I would normally do? And this is one of the things. It basically gets them to ask the same questions as I would, get the same information that is easily relayed and then transcribed across into an actual quoting document. I can use this in tandem with the images that are uploaded to Google Drive to then formulate the quote. So this is very important information for us. If we miss any of this information, I can't put together a quote. So, and it's basically, it dictates the process of a consultation. Walk in, say hi. At the moment, have a chat about masks, and then go through the property. So we're going to ask them, have they decided who they're listing with? When are they thinking they'd like to get the property listed? When's photography date? Most people don't know the process. They don't know that we would generally install on the morning of photography. So it's reassuring and having those conversations and over-communicating the process with them. Then we go through things like we're going to hang the artwork, but most people also don't realise that when we're hanging the artwork, we're going to use permanent fixtures. So we have the conversation there at a consultation that they are happy for us to use permanent fixtures at a consultation, in an install. Otherwise, we get there, we use permanent fixtures, we do the pack up, they're all happy the house is sold, but then they're left with marks on the wall and they feel that should have been discussed. So it's something we discuss at the consultation and then it's in our terms and conditions. Then we also go through and notate all the colours, finished surfaces, curtains, anything that's a little bit crazy, it's all noted on here. Other factors that we also note is there good access? That's particularly important for the truck and allocating how much time they need. So do we have 1 or 2 sets of stairs? Do we have a steep driveway? Is it a unit block? Do we need to book loading docks and lifts? All those sorts of things are all annotated on here. If we need to book a loading dock, is there building management contact that we can note down? Which 9 times out of 10 there's not. Then we'll go through each space, and like Cody can share this, each space by space. What's the size of the bedroom? Can we fit a double, a single? Is it a queen? Is there a study nook in those bedrooms? Do I need to account for a console to go in an entryway? That's our run through. Do we have a formal living? Is it a family living? Is it a downstairs rumpus room? Are we going to go for more of a kids retreat? Are we doing outdoor dining and outdoor living out externally? Or should we go for outdoor lounge because we tend to only do outdoor lounge off an indoor dining space? Those sorts of things are annotated in here because we get the best feeling for it when we're at a consultation. I don't want it to make it overwhelming and confusing. At the time of a consultation, if I let them know everything that I'm thinking, there is no way they're going to remember it. So it makes it more of a stressful experience for them. So I say every time, look, I'm going to take away that information. I'm going to take it away tonight. I'm going to write it up each room by room. I'm going to send you through a plan. It's a working checklist. It's the first step in my planning, but it also helps you get the property ready for sale. And then I'll go through, so we're going to hire these pieces, we're going to use these pieces, we're going to use these pieces in a different room, and then we're going to store these items. We have a service that we do offer storage for clients. We take it off site and put it into national storage, or they can organise to take it off site themselves. But at least that way, the property is then ready for us perfectly, often perfectly, when we get there to do our installation, and they understand what they need to keep. If it's a vacant property, obviously I'm not including all of that information. It's just literally a room plan. And then they can see exactly what furniture items we're bringing in. So that's the run through. I don't discuss colours, themes, styles, or any of that. If somebody says to me, look, we've done styling before, I'll ask them what sort of ideas they have, or what's their understanding, or do they have any questions about the process. But I don't enter into a conversation about what style they would prefer to see. There's a lot of reasons for it. Reason one being, honestly, the style that we style a property always is depending on how the property needs to present. Not every home can take a Hampton style, not every home can have coastal, Scandi. The home needs to be presented in the best interest of the property, and that's what our vendors trust us to do. And as soon as you introduce the idea that they can have input, which sometimes they can have, but if you give them the opportunity to say, look, I want Hamptons, and the house is a 70s brick home, it's then that discussion turns to, well, actually you can't, it becomes negative. So we try to avoid that part of the conversation. And we always talk about the quality of the furniture we bring in is reflective of the price point that we're trying to achieve for your home. So that's the level that we're quoting for. And that's understood really well. So photos, we take 2 angles of every room, 2 separate angles, so that I can, if I'm not on site, I can use those photos to piece together a floor plan. So that those photos in tandem with this consult document are used to create the quoting document that I then send on to somebody. Quote, I try to do that within 24 hours. I used to do it on the same night. I've got a bit of a backlog at the moment, so it's the next day. So yeah, we'll work on that, get it back to the same night. More because in my head, if I don't do it on the same night, then it's out of my brain. So I like to get through within 24 hours. That's ideal, that's gold standard.
There you have it. That's hopefully everything you wanted and needed to know about Consultations. Of course, if you have further questions, if we've missed anything, if you want anything clarified, just let us know in the comments section of this video. And that is it for this week's Foxy TV episode. Thanks for joining us once again, and we'll see you back here in the next episode.